Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero and pop culture media. That's movies, video games, TV shows. We talk about the news, do a little speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. I am Mo Poupée, your resident fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend LADI. And LADI, dude, happy 100th episode of the Supercast. Man, can you believe it? We have arrived. I can't even believe it's been like 2 years, man. Like more, is it more?
It's
than
crazy.
2 years? Almost 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Insert insert fanfare or air horns or DJ air horns. So man, it's been quite a journey. I think our first, and it, we started out before the Supercast proper with doing the Invincible cast and everything like that, and then just kind of rolled into this, and man, it's been I feel like we've gotten better. I want to say we've gotten better.
You feel like we've gotten better.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, we still have fun with this. So, welcome everybody to this one. If you've been here from the beginning, or if you just found out we even exist, we're glad you're here listening to us. And before we get into the podcast proper, just letting you know that this podcast is available on like Spotify and other podcasting platforms. So if you don't want to or can't listen to us on YouTube, you can definitely check it out there. So do us a favor, subscribe and all that good stuff, and maybe leave a review. That'd be awesome. But anyway, on this 100th episode, it's a little supersized. We got some extra fun stuff today, but as usual, we do talk about the news. And it's been 2 weeks, and LADI, it's been so much shit's been going on, man. It's kind of a little crazy. I mean, we had Guardians of the Galaxy just dropped over the weekend, and we both saw it, and we got a review up. So check the channel out for that. But we will talk about that a little bit later, because people have been sort of talking about the box office there, and we also got. We all have to talk about the writer's strike. We have to talk about that way people are talking about the writer's strike. Entitled fans talking about it. There's some Fantastic Four, casting that's going on. Disney is suing the governor of Florida. It's the Wild West out here, man. Well, it feels like it. And that, in addition to all the regular old, London is burning sort of shenanigans going on in the world. So that's why we're here. We're going to talk about, kind of the stuff that distracts us away from that stuff. So anyway, LADI, you ready to start this 100th episode and get into the news?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's get into it. So LADI, I wanted to start this off by talking about something real quick, which is, we're all waiting for Fantastic Four, right? Mm-hmm. We're just like, man, when is the Fantastic Four coming? When is it going to come? And for some people, it's like, they better not race swap anybody else, right? Or something like that. Which they're so worried about race swapping. I would love to kind of, flip everything on its head and gender swap everything. Have only be one dude on the team and then all women. That would send those guys into fucking, epileptic seizures or something. But anyway, so a couple things came out over the last couple weeks, and a couple names, and I've been hearing like one of them may even be like legit actually happening, and that is casting Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic, and a rumor that they are offering the role of Sue Storm to Margot Robbie. So I know you know Margot Robbie. Adam Driver, I know you're not a Star Wars guy, so how familiar are you with Adam Driver?
I mean, I know that he was Kylo Ren, but I've really never really watched any of his movies outside of the first the new sequel, Star Wars.
Hmm.
Besides that, I really am not familiar with his work. I know who he is when you say his name, but I don't have watched really any of his movies.
Yeah. Well, he was in an Oscar-nominated movie, Marriage Story, opposite Scarlett Johansson, a year or two ago. But I mean, he's got quite a body of work. He's quite good. Like, just saying, he was just in that movie 65 about prehistoric Earth and aliens coming there, and he's from another planet and they're fighting dinosaurs, which I haven't seen yet. I'm waiting for it to get on one of the streaming services. But he's quite good. Also, most recently, I saw him in a movie on Netflix where he sort of played. He didn't play a Mr. Fantastic, but he played a college professor in a very weird movie. And let me say, hell yeah, I was. If they're gonna pick somebody for this, and he's not gonna be like nearing on 50 years old, Adam Driver is a great pick. I mean, obviously he's got the physicality for a superhero thing, but the dude can act. He can act his ass off. In fact, and he's kind of been in movies with big time stars and with smaller stars and everything like that. And he's been a genre thing. So I mean, he was Kylo Ren, and say what you want to about the character of Kylo Ren, but I mean, I always thought he portrayed it pretty well. So I'm actually on board with that. But Lottie, I have a hot take. Uh,
What's your hot take?
Hell no to Margot Robbie being Sue Storm. No, absolutely not.
Give me why do you feel this strongly about it?
Because goddamn shit. Look, here's my thing. I actually love her as an actor. I do. I've enjoyed the things she's in. I think she's great, straight up. But there are literally a dozen other blonde women in Hollywood who can act just as well as she can. You don't have to keep giving her every damn role. Like, for real. I understand she's a name and everything, but seriously, there are other people that could do the role. Other people who, you know, have as much ability or, and have the looks and everything like that. Why? Why does Margot Robbie have to be Harley Quinn and Barbie and fucking Sue Storm?
When I saw them cast her, I was like, okay. Like it was one of those like
Yeah, no
eyebrow
excitement.
raise.
Was there any
It,
excitement?
yeah, it
I,
just is like
it's a
I
competent pick. It's a competent pick, but I'm not excited by it.
sometimes it's one of the things I was telling my friend when it comes to like the NBA. One of the things that's going on in the NBA is the lack of good coaching because they're just recycling the same coaches. And I'm not saying she's a great actress, but it just seems like Hollywood where Hollywood has reached this era where they're just hiring the same actors and actresses. Like there was a time you will know what I'm talking about during the early 2000s, like well, I won't say early, late 2000s, early 2010s. Everybody had their own like series, and they were not getting hired to another series. Like if you were hired by Marvel, you were not being hired by DC, and it wasn't because they were arch rivals. It's just they wanted to use a different acting pool. You know what I mean? It's just how it was.
Yeah,
But now it just seems like, oh, hey, you've done this Marvel movie. Hey, why don't you come and do this DC movie? Hey, you've done this DC movie. Why don't you come and do this movie? Hey, you've done this action movie. Why don't you do this action movie?
yeah,
It seems like it's just literally the same 10 to 15 actors slash actresses. They're just recycling them over and over to the point that it's like I remember I was watching this one action movie. It literally felt like a sequel to another action movie the actor was in, and I was just like, it just feels like a sequel.
yeah. And the thing is, I get it. Like I said, it's a competent pick.
Yeah.
Look, she's a name. She's a big name. She's a producer in Hollywood. She's got a lot of mojo. All that stuff. I get it. And also the fact is that Marvel movies don't shoot once a year. If you're gonna make Fantastic Four, you'll make a movie for 6 months, and then it'll be 3 years before you have to come back and do it again. And so you got plenty of time to go do other things, you know, to be in other franchises. I get that. And again, I will reiterate, I like Margot Robbie. I think she's great. I don't think that they should just be like, oh, let's give her every freaking role. Because there are other people of equal talent and even recognizability that could do the job. And I'm just not excited by this. I'm like at all. And when I think Sue Storm, Margot Robbie's face, and you know, her, it was not what I was thinking of. And that's my expectations. I get that, but if, you know, I'm just not on board with it right now. And I could be wrong, and she could be perfect. But I mean, give somebody else a shot. I can think of at least one other person from Australia who looks almost just like her, which her name is Samara Weaving, and she could do the job just as well because she's really good, actually. Samara Weaving that's Hugo Weaving's niece, I believe. She's very good, and she's blonde too, and she's athletic and all that other. She could do it. So anyway, well, we'll see what's actually going on. If any of this is true, I have a feeling we're going to be finding out at least by Comic-Con later on in the year. So we'll let you guys know about any of that news once it's confirmed. So before we get into like the big issues, I want to talk about, we got a couple trash takes. We on the Supercast, we keep our ear to the ground, or in this case to social media, to check out what some fans or even some, you know, celebrities or other people in the industry are saying that is just bullshit, like straight up bullshit takes. And we got a couple real good ones this week, LADI. It just never fails to amaze me how self-centered and myopic and just dumb some of these things are. And that's pretty much everything encapsulating this one tweet from some no name named Brad Trommel on Twitter. And it's about the writer's strike, which we are going to talk about later. But as you know, the writers are striking over compensation with the Producers Guild. And that means that a lot of things are starting to shut down and everything. So this motherfucker even went to the length of making a picture, you know, making a picture, a series of pictures to go along with this. With it says set us free, hashtag end union greed. And this one where I'm looking at is Spider-Man in shackles. So you're like, we're already primed for this, you know, great thought that this person's about to have. So here, I'm going to read it. He says, I think I speak for everyone in the creative community. As an aside, no, you don't, motherfucker. Whenever anyone says that, they don't speak for everyone. Anyway, he says, I think I speak for everyone in the creative community when I say that greedy writers' profits aren't worth as much as the joy superheroes bring to the people all over the world. So WGA, end your strike now and give the MCU back to its rightful owners, the fans. Hashtag end union greed. LADI, if you could see me right now, I'm doing the Picard face palm because there's so much dumb in that. LADI, what is he right? Is he wrong? How wrong is he?
He's retarded. Like and I'm gonna use that word. Like that is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. And like, I'm happy. I mean, there are idiots that are in the comments going like, "Oh yeah, we stupidly agree," but but the majority of the people in the comment section are like, "Bro, what? Like one person said, so you care more about a character that doesn't exist than actual people?" And one guy said, okay. Whenever you make a building, I won't pay you for it. Construction workers should work for free. because the building that the people are going to live in is more important than the people that build it. It's just some stupid, like one of the biggest things that I hate about social media is that it gave some of the dumbest people on this planet a platform to say stupid stuff, and they can all conjugate together with their idiocy. And you just get on Twitter just to just be like, hey, let me see what my cousin or what some of these people are tweeting about. Then you see some just some dumb stuff, and it's just like people are like, yeah, bro, yeah, get rid of the writers. Oh, freaking.
There's just so many things dumb about like one of it is it's a sense of entitlement. Give the MCU back to its rightful owners. Let me clue you in, Brad Tromo. We don't own shit. Disney and DC, Disney owns the fucking MCU. They're their characters, right? We don't own a fuck thing. We are lucky we get anything from them at all. And the only reason why we get anything from them is because they expect us to shell money out. And if they want us to keep coming back, they need writers who will make good stuff. Like this.
Exactly.
And also, you're fucking ignorant because you don't even understand why they're striking. You think that they have. He's talking about greedy writers' profits. What fucking profits? What profits? Point out to me a writer in Hollywood that all they do is write shit for TV and movies that is living in the high life in LA, one of the most expensive places in the world to live, where they have to be if they want to keep getting work. You don't know fuck thing about why they are striking. You don't understand their pay structure. You don't understand what an actual how many fucking writers there are. And not for every fucking Shonda Rhimes who makes Grey's Anatomy and get rich, there's like 1,000, 2,000 people who are just fucking scraping by. Like that's just completely foolish. You don't know what you're talking about. You feel entitled, and you think that your entitlement, your sense of entitlement should be fed off the backs of these writers. Fuck right off. Fucking dumb. Not dumb and entitled. Those are two things that should not fucking go together. And yet, we get them in spades in the fan community. Everyone thinks that not only should they be entitled to whatever the fuck they want from the characters and the people that make these things, but also if they do shit that you don't agree with, then you should be entitled to fucking harass them too. Right? Because us fans, remember I always say, don't ever listen to us. Us fans, if we could write this shit worth a damn, we would be writing and we'd be striking right now because our IP, the things we make up, those words, those stories, would be getting fucking taken and we'd be barely getting paid for it. Just
Yep.
Idiot. Trash take. Throw that crap right in the garbage. And he got ratioed and piled on for a fucking reason because he's stupid. So anyway.
It's just oh man, Stan Lee shouldn't be famous because the character belongs to us. He shouldn't get paid for writing Spider-Man. Just like you wonder.
Yeah, I seriously think this is an old internet thing, but I wish there was a button that would just punch people in the face over the internet. Just some people need it. So anyway, we do have another trash take, and this is about Guardians of the Galaxy, which we both saw. Again, you can go check our review here on the channel, and we both liked it quite a bit. I'd even say maybe loved it. It's quite high, and that critically acclaimed, all that other stuff. But its box office did it blow anyone away? Not really. I mean, it made 118 million, which is the second highest opening for the year. It's behind Guardians 2 and everything like that. But LADI, there's a contingent of people, the usual suspects, that are saying it's a flop. only made 118 million. Therefore, it's a flop. Um, I feel like today's theme is people not knowing what the fuck they're talking about. Lottie, I mean, how do you feel about this take? Is it a flop because it only made 118 million?
I won't say it. I won't say it's a flop because we don't know yet. You know, it could have a strong second weekend and then pick up legs. The movie's definitely not going to make as much money as it deserves, or probably as much money as they were expecting when they first like announced Guardian of the Galaxy 3. I will say that, but it's not a flop. And I mean, people like this is one of those movies that James Gunn has transcended. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some people out there that are like saying some ridiculous stuff on both spectrums. Some people are saying it's the best Marvel movie of all time, and then there are people that are saying the movie was absolute garbage and not good. But I've seen people on the Fandom Menace even say they enjoyed this movie and they actually loved and enjoyed this movie. It James Gunn has found a way to touch the heart of even the Fandom Menace.
Which is, let me tell you, it's pretty hard because some of them are they're pretty awful. So,
But I would not say this movie is a flop. It's too early. It's just the first weekend. I mean, people like let's be honest. After the first weekend of Mario, some people are saying, "Oh, it's not going to do that well." Like literally, I remember I put on Twitter that Mario is going to be $1 billion movie. Everybody was like, after the first weekend, they were like, "This aged well." Then after the third weekend, I said, "Mm-hmm."
somebody better pick up that phone.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, guys, it's going to be $1 billion movie. Especially when I found out it hasn't released in Japan yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
and Mario, it's on its way to being maybe the fourth or fifth highest animated grossing animated film. So, but as far as Guardians, look, let's have some perspective here. One, there's definitely an agenda going on there. The people are talking about a flop because 100. You know what didn't make $118 million at the box office on its opening. And by the way, this is domestic. This is in America only. This is not worldwide. Believe worldwide it made about 300 total for America and worldwide 300 something million. So let's take that into account. But two, there is an agenda by certain people that have been talking about the MCU, and every time it whatever comes out, that everything's huge flop, and there's those big stupid thumbnails, blah blah blah. The thing to keep in perspective is, I think Mario made more in its opening weekend, but not like terribly more. Also, everyone was talking about, oh, Black Adam opened so well at 75 million, right? And like that's all that it opened 75 million. This is open better than somewhat better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, right? And there are plenty of other movies that opened up, even in the MCU, that have opened up on near or less than that, and went on to have legs. And that is the actual question here. You can't call it a flop until you see the second and third week returns. You really can't. It's and mind you, flop meaning it fails to earn its money back. It's in the red, and at this rate, at the rate it's going, it's going to make its money back. I think that I feel strongly about that. Will it do gangbusters? I mean, I doubt it. I don't think it's going to do gangbusters, but it's definitely not a damn flop. $118 million opening weekend. We have the skewed ass perspective about box office because it's a Marvel movie, right? But we don't take into account context. Context is when Guardians 2 came out, they were heading towards Infinity War, right? there was a definite through line heading towards Infinity War. It's very clear that we were ramping up to the to the ending of the Infinity Saga. And on the other hand, Guardians 3 is sort of coming out in a lull before the storm, if you will. That hasn't really been well defined, and also, Marvel has been hit or miss with TV and with its movies. Now, I mean, we literally just saw Quantumania just die on the vine, and so between that and the pandemic and all this other stuff, there are definite changes to the way people are going to see movies. And I don't know why it's so fucking hard to acknowledge that there are some things that may inhibit the box office. And I still say that it's going to make its money back and become profitable. So we'll see if I'm right about this next weekend. If it takes a 40, 55% drop, yeah, it's going to make its money back. If it takes a 70% drop, then it's in trouble. And then we can talk about flop. But you can't fucking say that in the first weekend. Not over $118 million. Sorry. Domestic. It's still 300 something worldwide. So, no, that's a bad take. Anyway, we're going to reconvene and talk about this next week. LADI, and then we'll know if you need to, if I need to pick up the phone, or, if I just gotta admit that I'm wrong about something. But I have a feeling it's a great movie, and I think I've told enough people to go see it. And I don't know about you, LADI. How many people have been like, should I go see it to you?
At least 5 people.
Yeah.
Like 5 or many more than that, because the group chat, there's 4 of us in there, and I told actually 10 people.
Yeah. So we're doing that thing that actually is, gives a movie legs, which is tell other people you got to go see this.
And it has a lot. It has, like, this movie has a lot of secondhand, like, marketing. Like, it's going to do better than what it's projecting to do, because I feel like more people who didn't go to see it the first time are going to go see it this time. And plus, also, we got to remember what the movie came out on a weekend that, yes, some people would go like, oh, well, some people be like, oh, well, that should have helped it. Nah, it was Cinco de Mayo and graduation. Just saying. There's a lot of people not movie watching.
Yeah. Well, and when we went to go see it, I mean, it's a Monday night, and it still had a pretty good crowd. I mean, we were in the biggest theater. I mean, it still had a pretty good crowd. Not, it wasn't full up, but I mean, it's a Monday night, so I think we're gonna be surprised, and I will say this: it's gonna drop less than 60%. I believe the weekend 2 box office drop off is going to be under 60%, and if it's under 60%, that's a win. That's it's on its way to actually doing what it needs to. So anyway, we'll let you guys know about that next weekend when we talk about it. So enough of the easy stuff. Now it's time to talk about the real the real shit. And there's 2 particular things. So we're gonna address something politics related. That's right. We're gonna talk about politics, and in particular how it affects Disney. So, LADI, we're if you guys don't know it, we talk about it sometimes, but we are in Florida, and we have an embarrassment of a fucking governor. He sucks. This is my personal opinion. I'm gonna, LADI, I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but Desantis, he sucks. But people around here like him, so he just kind of does whatever the fuck he wants. We kind of live in a state that is essentially, it's essentially run by one party, and they do whatever the hell they want, and whatever the hell they want seems to be a whole lot of culture war bullshit.
I will argue, highly argue, that this is like, I would even say this is the Republican Party. This is something completely else. Like, I know quite a few Republicans that do not like DeSantis, and Republicans that are not in Florida. I will say this is like almost it's like DeSantis is almost made his own. Like it's like super like ultra right. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the thing is he is doing what a lot of Republicans across the country that are in have the reins of power are doing. You know, they're doing what, you know, I guess Democrats never have the fucking balls to do, which is we're in charge, so we're just gonna fucking do whatever, and you know, and we're gonna gin our base up and we're gonna do whatever. So that's what they're kind of doing here in the state of Florida. It's annoying and we try to ignore it day by day, but it's pretty hard to fucking ignore the fact that DeSantis has the hill he's decided to die on is you know, trying to rein in Disney, and that's a fuck. And let me say, the reining in it's not on anything like substantial, like business related. You know, not on anything substantial about how they pay their you know their people or benefits or how any of that stuff. That's none of that stuff is what's happened. They're reining them in because they had the nerve to say something about a culture war issue. You know, they had a bill that was a culture war related, you know, and the former CEO was like, we don't support that, and they withdrew some monetary support to Republicans, and so DeSantis' whole thing is to kind of like punish them for that and to kind of show that he's the boss, and this is a big thing for him politically to show that he can like just be an authoritarian and do whatever the hell, and just like score W's for Republicans on culture war shit. And so he's been doing that, you know, the whole thing with the special district and, you know, dismantling that, specifically writing laws to target that special district and just, you know, trying to intimidate Disney into shutting up and continuing to give them money, which, by the way, I bet you Disney is going to continue to give money, just maybe not to DeSantis, because I don't know, Lottie. I feel like maybe he's like the bully on the yard who's, you know, he picked the wrong person, you know, he picked the wrong person, and now he realized, oh, I actually have to fight this person, you know, and so that's what and to that point, Disney was like, okay, cool. There's, you know, they just passed this bill is very specifically about Disney, and Disney was like, okay, cool, we'll see you in court. So they have sued DeSantis personally and several other people personally, especially on the new board of directors of the special district, but also the state of Florida, over targeting them over their First Amendment, their First Amendment, you know, free speech, and retaliation and all that other stuff. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but there's some sound legal shit in there. Lottie. Now, I've heard a lot of people be like, "Oh, the mouse is kicking his ass," and I'm like, I don't know if I see that yet. But one difference between Disney and you or me is that Disney is rich. Disney has a lot of money, and they have some of the best lawyers in the world. So, Lottie, I mean, what's your take on this? And I mean, do you see the way this is? How do you see this playing out? You know, all the way around. Like, is Disney gonna win? Is DeSantis gonna win? Are they just gonna like agree to disagree and like kind of swear everything off? What do you think?
I think it's going to end up as an agree to disagree. But I've been saying this for a while that DeSantis has decided to post himself up on a hill that he is we're slowly but surely watching him die on. You know, he's losing supporters left and right. He has. I mean, he could pass laws right now because, like I said, he's Republican, and Republicans usually stick together. But at the end of the day, a lot of these Republicans, when it's time for him to be out of that governor thing, they gonna leave him because we're slowly but surely watching him die on the little hill
Well,
that he.
he's trying to be president. I mean, let's be
And it's
clear.
not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
He's trying to out Trump. He's trying to be president, and it's the thing is that I honestly, can I be clear here? I think it was kind of smart. I'm not gonna lie. Look at it. Look at the situation and consider what's actually happening. This is a guy like he's got, it's pretty clear from the last legislative session. Again, this is inside politics, whatever. Just take my word for it. In the last legislative session, he pretty much showed that if he wants something, he'll get it from the legislature. And so in this one, in the one that just ended, he got what he wanted from them, which is a platform to show that he could out Trump, that he could be the biggest, loudest bully, and that he would bring to heel any corporation that felt like that they could say anything that was contrary to what the Republican, party is pushing. And they're pushing culture war bullshit. And so, that was his thing. And in a way it works. He's got a platform and everything, but it causes some sort of trepidation from other Republicans who are like, is this the thing to do? Even Trump is just getting on his ass about it, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, all these people that are like, they're like, oh, Disney's going to kick his ass and everything, and they're just going to leave the state. No, absolutely not. That's like, as dumb as you may think DeSantis is, he's not. He knows economics well enough to know Disney can't leave Florida at all. Like maybe in 10 or 15 years, maybe they can't do it right. It's not like I take this job and shove it and you leave and that's just it. No, they have billions of dollars invested in Central Florida, right? In Central Florida, where Disney World is. Infrastructure, all left, right, and center. Hundreds of acres of land that they own, all the rides, everything down there. They cannot leave. It's just not possible. Because if they do, Disney's share price is going to tank. As soon as they say they're leaving, it's going to tank because they know that it's going to take billions of dollars to move everything from there to wherever the fuck they think will be a better place than Florida.
It's a lose-lose situation.
So they are literally in a situation where they don't have enough influence in the legislature to stop this bullshit. They can't leave, right? All they can, and they can't, they can't even extend an olive branch. The only thing they can do is capitulate or continue to get beat up on, or in this case, take him to court. And if the court, and here's another thing that people don't think about. This is is it a federal or is it a state thing? Because if it's a state thing, they will lose. And you might be like, well, how could they lose if they got the law on their side? Because in the state of Florida, it doesn't fucking matter. Because he has stacked the state Supreme Court with people that are his allies. So if you think that they'll get to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court, and they won't rule in DeSantis' favor, you don't know the way things work down here. This, like, people talk about fascism and shit like that. We're well on our way to it here, and I'm not being too paranoid or anything. The truth is that I've seen enough to know that when a guy like that can say, hey, we're gonna replace, they're literally talking about replacing the school superintendent here in our county because he won't toe the fucking line on this don't say gay shit, right? Because he won't toe the line on all of the other culture war shit. So they're gonna, and this motherfucker is literally has the whole legal structure to basically, take Disney by the neck and rub their nose in things. And what can they do about it besides sue? If it's a federal thing, that's a different thing. It might actually come to that. But then, DeSantis will just do whatever. I'm just saying. There's all the incentive in the world for him to do this. And Disney's kind of stuck in a place. That said, Disney has lots of money. And they have great lawyers. And they employ thousands of people in this state. Now, LADI, if Disney decided, you know what, we're going to take the financial hit to close Disneyland for 6 weeks. Nobody's got no work. We're not paying nobody because this is an at-will state. We're not going to pay anybody. We're not going to, or we're just going to shutter everything for 6 weeks. LADI, do you think that would make DeSantis sit up and reconsider?
Part of me wants to say no, because I don't think part of him, I think he's ready to take this.
Yeah. Well. Let me add to that thought a little more. If they furlough people for 6 weeks, you know what those furloughed people are going to do? They're going to apply for unemployment, and they're going to get it. Even as draconian as the fucking rules for unemployment are in the state of Florida, they will get it. You're talking about thousands of people. When I say thousands, I'm not just talking. I'm at the parks themselves. It's something like, I mean, they've been laying people off, but they still employ like 6,000 or 7,000 people in the Orlando area. If my understanding is correct, 6,000 or 7,000 people on furlough. Now, not all of them, obviously, but the park workers, et cetera, et cetera. That's a huge, like, Orlando, between Disney and like all of the other theme parks, that's Orlando's lifeblood. There's literally nothing else in Orlando except servicing that shit, and servicing the people that service that shit. So I mean, that's a possibility that they could do work stoppage, essentially go on strike, if you will, and interrupt the economy of Central Florida. Now, with that context, I'm not saying they'll do it, but it's like DeSantis sees this as a winning thing, but that's because he hasn't been hurt yet. So I'm just saying, if they did do that, is DeSantis done?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it won't look good, but I don't think it will. It will really, truly make it will end it. It will end this. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah. No, I think. I mean, I tend to think that because he's still governor. He's governor for 2 more years. But are his presidential aspirations done?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because Trump is like, fuck this guy. I want the nomination. I'll be damned if this dude takes my spot. So he's already been going hard at him. Oh, and I didn't mention something else that no one's really talking about. That Disney is a major. They contribute money to all sorts of political stuff. They don't talk about it, but they definitely give money to Republicans all over the place, but definitely in the state of Florida. Wouldn't it be funny? And like I said, I think campaign contributions may have stopped anyway. If they decided to give their money to whoever his rival is, there's the thing is, it's not just power that's the currency. It's money is the actual currency too. I won't talk about corruption and all that other shit, but the truth is that money is how you get elected or reelected or whatever. And you can't have big money. You can't have Moneybags Mickey against you, not in the state of Florida. At least that's been the conventional wisdom. So I don't know, man. I know I'm doing a lot of talking. I've been thinking about this for a while. What could Disney actually do about this besides sue? And I know suing is like, it'll work, but I think the campaign contributions are really the deal. To literally be like, all right, it's our free speech right to be like, all right, we're going to support somebody who isn't you, who is explicitly going to run to kick your ass out. And then it becomes a big old proxy war between Disney and DeSantis to see who actually gets to to win. Now, I tell you what, there's a lot of incentive in Orlando to be like, fuck Desantis because he's messing with our money. So, I don't know, Lottie. We can go on and on about this. The point is, uh, this is an ongoing thing. I don't think it's going to have any actual effect on the comic book movies we get. I don't think so. But I do think that if Disney is going to go to war, they're going to spend real money on it, and it's going to it's going to impact entertainment in general. Because the other thing is that this is a litmus test. Well, it's not a litmus test. This is a test to see if the government's going to have more power to kind of fuck with private enterprise or not. And if they prevail, that's bad for business. And I think bad for business is just enough of a reason to, ruin DeSantis's, overall chances. Even if in general he would be good for business, he would be bad for business because he set a bad precedent. So, anyway, Lottie, I think we're going to be talking about this a lot more in the future. So, I guess when we find out more information about this DeSantis versus Disney thing, we'll let you guys know. Which leads us, Lottie, to our final thing, and I think this is one that we both have lots of, opinions about, and we sort of talked about it briefly earlier in the trash take, and that is that the Writers Guild of America, the trade union for all of the writers for TV and movies in America, they have gone on strike. They are as of May 1st. And that was because their contract did not get renewed. It's because their negotiations with the Producers Guild did not, come to an agreeable end. And it's, as usual, it's about compensation and all that other stuff. And the use of there's a number of things. Mainly it's compensation, residuals related to streaming, the changing business model in TV and movies, and also the use of AI for writing. So, and also kind of the exploitation of writers' rooms was another big thing. So, Lottie, the strike is on. I'm pro union and all that other stuff. So I'm all for the WGA. But what's your take on this? And also, we'll talk about it a little later. How is this going to affect the comic book movies that and TV shows we're so looking forward to?
Man, honestly, this is a whole mouthful with this whole AI stuff because this is something that could really cause trouble, not just in the movie industry, the music industry, and all that stuff. I don't think this is. I think this is. We were just got done talking about politics. This is not something that the what's it called shouldn't that the union should fight for. This is where the U.S. government needs to step in and regulate this shit. Quit being lazy, government. Time for you to regulate this stuff. Because if you don't regulate this stuff, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to lose jobs. Because businesses are going to start hiring people, going to start firing people and just use AI for it. There has to be, in the next year or two, there has to be the United States, both Democrat, I don't give a damn. There has to be, because like I said, this is not a union thing, because the union can only do so much. This is a United States of America thing. They need to regulate this, because AI is going, it is going to cause a lot of people to lose jobs if it is not regulated. And now that I'm off that one, when it comes to the movie industry, we've already starting to see it. A couple of these movies are already being, they're stopped working on it because the writers are no longer in it. And I'm completely with you. Writers should be paid for their contribution. I mean, Listen, if you think you're such a good director and everything, why don't you write it? And I'm sure a lot of these directors who are writers, they're not writing for free. They want that extra writing bump on their salary as well. Boom. You know what I mean?
Well,
Nope. Mm-mm.
well, it should be noted that, it's like, let's consider James Gunn, since like his movie did just come out. He is a member of the WGA, and he is not working on anything right now. Even though he's the co-chairman and CEO of DC Studios, but he is not crossing the picket line. The picket line being of, obviously, yes, people out there literally picketing, but the crossing the picket line includes working on anything, writing on anything, and he's not doing that. There are many people, many directors, that are not. There are, there are people who are not writers who aren't crossing literal picket lines either. This is a big deal. My understanding is that there was a big solidarity meeting between the other guilds. So the thing is, like, if you don't really know the business of Hollywood, and I'm not saying I'm an expert, I have some understanding of it. There's the Producers Guild. That's the money people, right? There are people who are members of all the guilds: the Producers Guild, the writing, the Screen Actors Guild, the Writers Guild. Then you have like the Teamsters, and the IATSE, which is, they're the people who do the physical production stuff. They're the people who go and they do sets and all that other stuff, the actual physically making it. These are all different unions, and they all have agreements with the producers, and they also support each other. So I was gonna say, when this started, that there are things that are already in production, and that it's in production. Hey, it's not subject to this strike, except the writers aren't going to go to set. So if there needs to be rewrites, they're not going to rewrite anything. They got to work with whatever the script is. If they're picking one thing, this happened to Daredevil Born Again. So you know how they're shooting it right now. They're producing Daredevil Born Again right now, except that yesterday they did not film one thing because they had a picket line. The writers that were in New York went to picket where they were going to be filming, and the Teamsters and the IATSE, members of the IATSE Guild, would not cross that picket line. And they've been doing this on different shows and all that, movie sets and everything like that, because the guilds have decided, they got together and they were like, we're going to be strong together. We're going to support each other. They can't, now right now, the other guilds can't strike, but they can support the other guilds by not crossing picket lines. This is serious. Like, it's deadly serious. And I don't mean deadly, but like it's dead serious, because yes, if we're going to talk like that idiot in the trash take, it's all about us consumers. I want my movies. I want my TV shows. How dare you keep them away from me, right? But if we're talking about it from the perspective of a writer, they have seen their average salary go down 4%, if I'm understanding it correctly, in the last 10 years. And in the last 10 years, do you know what the profits have been for the studios? It's LADI, just guess. Give me a number. How much has it changed?
A lot.
I mean, just you can throw any number out.
If I had to change, probably about, I have to say, 500 to 600 million.
Well, no, I'm talking about I was going to say percentage, but I'll give.
Oh, the percentage? Oh, it's probably about 80 to 90%.
I would say, man, you are way too high. But it's 25%. So, which it's a lot. Look, 25%, not 80%. Man, they wish. But
I thought you were talking about the movies. I thought you were talking about the actual companies, how much they're getting out. Well, not the writers. That's what I meant.
What they're talking about, writers' average salaries, their average compensation has gone down 4%. the profits of these studios has gone up 25% in the same time. So this is all related to streaming and the way the residual structure works. Residuals are, if you write on something, you get paid, as it gets played over in reruns in perpetuity. And the reason for this being that the people who produced it, the studios or whatever, every time they repackage and sell it, whenever Friends gets played on a network television, cable, network TV, whatever, the studio, they license it out, they get money, right? And the people that made it, if there was no residual structure, would get nothing. They got paid to write on it. That was the end of it. But because there's this perpetual revenue cycle related to all of this content, the Writers Guild rightly said, hey, if we're going to be making you shit that's going to make you money forever, then we should be getting part of that too. Or else what's our incentive for sticking around and making good shit? What's the incentive? We're going to get paid one time and watch you get paid over and over and over for this stuff? Nah. That's what residuals are. And that's part of it. That's part of it. But there's also this bullshit about exploiting writers' rooms. Now, writers' rooms, if you're not up on it, is basically there's a group of writers for a show, right, for a TV show. And it's 7, 8, 10, depending on the size of the how big the show is, how many episodes, etc. They all get together, figure out what the story for the season is, break the story down into episodes, and then each one of the they write episodes each, one or more episodes for the season. Now, part of the reason why the compensation has gone down is because when you watch streaming shows, how many episodes are generally in a streaming season? Like 8. 8,
yeah.
10, maybe 12 or 13. When you watch a network TV show, how many episodes are generally in a season? Like 18, 20, 22, something like that, maybe 24, 25. And so one of them is a job as a part of the writer's room that will take a year. That will take the better part of a year to do. Another one is one that takes something to the tune of 6 to 8 weeks. Then what are you doing? There's clauses that keep you bound to that show, even though you're not working for most of the year. Right?
Yeah.
And another problem they have is that the networks, not the networks, but the studios are doing these things called mini writer rooms, where they haven't even greenlit a show, haven't greenlit it. They're just essentially pre-production, and they say, "Hey, let's get together 5 or 6 people. Let's break down the whole story and everything like that. We're not gonna have them write scripts. We're just gonna have them break the whole story down, right?" This show is not greenlit. They're barely, they're paying them, or not even paying them. There's just a promise that there will be a show, and if that show doesn't happen, they work for free. If the show does happen, they could bring in a whole group of other writers and barely pay the people that did the breakdown that they're basing the season on. It's like if you have the AI write the outline and break down a story, and then other writers come in, except the AI is a tool and the writers are not a fucking tool. They're an employee that is getting exploited. That's the shit that's going on here. All this shit about, oh, they're greedy and they're living plush lives and everything like that. No, that is not true. That is not true. Tell me, you know what? How about this, LADI? Let's do an experiment. The last TV show that you really liked, anything? What was it? Tulsa King, right? Tulsa King. Name a writer on that show.
I don't know a single one.
Or how about that? The show before. Name a writer on Yellowstone, or 1883, or name one. Just one.
No.
And look, Now, name an actor in those shows.
I can name quite a few.
Thank you. Thank you. The actors are just saying words and acting out the things that the writers say, that the writers came up with. With no writers, you can't have a good show. And you may complain about the writing on some shows, but the truth is, the people that write for She-Hulk that people talk so much shit about are still professional writers that can do it better than any of these idiots on the internet that are talking about lazy and bad writing. They are professionals. They are WGA members, and they should be compensated relative to their contribution, and they should not be shackled to a fucking show that's only going to employ them for 2.5 months because they live in LA and they have fucking mortgages and they have lives that they need to live. They have kids, and they shouldn't be, the residual structure shouldn't be screwing them over so that they're just like, you know, trying to figure out what they're going to do. Yes, I'm not neutral in this. I'm just not. I'm not going to be neutral. I'm for the writers because you know how much fucking money the CEOs of each of these you know, studios are getting? In excess of $20 and $30 million a year. The CEOs. And if that's the CEO compensation, I guarantee the executive level people are getting piss-aid, and they want to fucking complain about paying the writers that are making their jobs even possible, because none of the people, David Zaslav could not write his way out of a fucking wet paper bag. He couldn't. If he had to write a script for anything, it would be trash. That's just the truth. The CEO of Paramount, if he had to write a script for anything, would be trash. They cannot make their living without the writers, and they're about to fucking learn. They're gonna learn like they learned the last time there was a fucking writer's strike. Anyway, Lottie, I'm sorry. I'm on my soapbox.
No, that's okay.
I'm on my soapbox, man. I'm like, the thing is that the shit is just, it's ridiculous. This whole talk about the greedy writers is bullshit. Why doesn't anyone talk about the fucking greedy executives at this place who, if they all collectively halved their salaries, you know, if they all, or if the executive level, if they would take a pay cut, they could fucking do this and we wouldn't be in this situation. I'm simplifying it still.
It's the same people that when the NFL players striked, oh, how dare these players want more money?
Yeah, how dare the employees who bring value, whose work actually brings value, want a part of that value? How dare they? Instead of lining, like you literally have motherfuckers on the internet who are lining up to defend, you know, the profiteering of these companies and not profit and be against profit sharing. Get out of here. Like this idea that writers are living high on the horse is not true. It just isn't. And we all, you know, yes, look, I found out Blade is basically indefinitely on hold right now. Yeah. Something I really want to see. Right? Daredevil, you know, who knows how many more work stoppages are going to happen. There's a ton of things that are in the works right now that are going to be negatively affected. Things I really, really, really want to see. And you know what my response to that is? Good. It's good. Because if that's what it takes, if that's what it takes to get these people done right by, I'd be inconvenienced. Fine, doesn't bother me. It's they're fucking movies and TV shows. You know, I like them. I like to talk about them. But there are real people's lives. What did you say earlier about caring more about fake people than real people?
Yeah.
Like, that's a great point. Spider-Man's not real, but the person that writes Spider-Man is real. And they should be taken care of, especially because there are billion-dollar movies. There's no reason that there shouldn't be some kind of compensation that makes sense. You know, it makes $1 billion. The writers should be making good. What did I say before when we were talking about stuff like about Marvel must pay? All they have to say is, hey, this Spider-Man No Way Home made 1.6 billion or 1 point whatever billion dollars. Cool. How about we break you off with $1 million? Does that change the profitability of that? Not really. What if they said, hey, 500 grand, here you go, dog. That's a huge thing to that writer, right? Or even the comic creator, the people. That's a huge thing to them. But $500,000, they fucking waste that. Like just whatever. It's a write-off. Like why do we have to have these conversations when it's pretty clear that they could afford to break people off and still make money? I have the answer to that, by the way. But anyway, LADI, I don't know. Like I said, I'm on a roll right now.
Yeah, I pretty much said out, what I had to say earlier when we did that trash take.
Yeah.
they need to pay. They just pay them. It's not that hard.
The reason, and it's not, it's money, yes, but it revolves back around to who has the money. And the reason why this bullshit happens and always happens is because the investors are fucking villainous. And by that I mean the stockholders of Disney, stockholders of Paramount, NBC Universal, etc., they want their money. And one of the favorite ways because that price, stock price goes up, stock price goes down, whatever. When they see the executive class doing things that hurt the workers, they're happy for it. Laying off people, cool. Freezing salaries, cool. Having a pay structure that pays people as little as possible, awesome. Stock price goes up. Even in the midst of all of this, how are stock prices doing? I mean, I'm not sure exactly, but they're holding the line and they're happy with that because ultimately they don't want money to go to the workers. They want money to go to themselves. And they don't want the workers to be compensated better. They want them to be happy with whatever they get so that their stock can be worth more so they can get pizzade. It goes straight back to that. This goes back to the playing for, trying to make the investors happy. Trying to make that stock price look good. All of that stuff. And as a result, we're going to have a work stoppage for who knows how long. And I say, good. Let's make it fucking hurt until they realize, like, hey, we're going to stand strong. And if you guys want to just turn your shit into reality TV central, good luck with that. So, anyway. I got to stop talking. I've got to. I'm gonna go on and on and on. But this looks like it's going to be going on for a while, and LADI, we're going to start feeling the pain, I suppose, towards the end of the year. So we'll see. But anyway, we'll let you guys know more about the strike as it continues. So anyway, that's all of our news for this last couple of weeks. But maybe we missed something. Probably we missed something, or you got some strong or some opinions about what we had to say. Whatever the case may be, get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there, and of course you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or @supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. All right, LADI. There's a lot of nerd speculation, nerd fights, debates going on in nerd circles. And I think one of the ones, I don't think we've ever really talked about this before. And so I thought it'd be fun if we would play something called Who Played It Best. It's kind of like a play on that, like who wore it best. Whenever you see on the red carpet, people are wearing different clothes, the similar dress or whatever. Who wore it best? In this case, who played a comic book character best in movies? the movies that we've gotten over the last 20 odd years. So LADI, as always, these are definitive, absolutely, and can't be disputed. Recommendations about who did this best. If you heard it from anyone else that said otherwise, they're wrong. Disregard them forever. Right? Am I right, Lottie?
Yes.
So we're gonna jump into this, and there's a surprisingly long list of people who have played similar characters, and not just Batman, believe it or not, or Superman. There's just like a bunch. So, this one is I think this is a spicy one. We're gonna talk about DC, the DC universe, and not the DCEU versus DC animated. Harley Quinn. Who's better, Margot Robbie or, controversially, Kaley Cuoco as the animated version of Harley Quinn? Lottie. I threw this one in on purpose because I know.
See, the answer would have been, if you would have throw in the original Harley Quinn, this would have been easy.
Right.
But,
well, you know what? Actually, let's throw in what's her name? Tara Strong. No, it's not Tara Strong. Is it Tara Strong? From the animated series.
Oh, the one from the animated series. Right. This isn't a discussion. This is
from Batman. If we're talking series.
If we're talking about the that's not even a discussion. But if we're talking about the other two,
I think so we'll say for posterity, it's I believe Tara Strong is the one has played her. If I'm wrong, whatever. The one that from the animated series. But from I tell you, I think Kaley Cuoco.
I kind of want to say the same thing because we only got to see Robbie 3 times.
Well, yeah, we saw and like this isn't taking anything away from her. I think she may be one of the best. She's probably one of the best things about the DCEU. Just her consistent characterization. I liked her, and I know a lot of people didn't like Birds of Prey. I thought she was a great part of that. There was a lot of fun stuff in there, and she's great in both of the Suicide Squads. Everyone's understanding of Harley Quinn is more, the normies, more or less because of her. That said, the Harley Quinn animated show is awesome, and Kaley Cuoco is great. Yes, I know we don't see her, but her voice acting is top notch. And she's got so much great material, and that character, that version of Harley Quinn is better, fight me on this, is better than the one in the DCEU. I just think that's true. So,
I mean, she is a great Harley Quinn.
Yeah. I think controversially, we're going to say Kaley Cuoco just edges out Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Let's go with the Joker. This is time for the spicy takes, because Lottie famously doesn't like the Dark Knight. So we're gonna see where this goes. Mark Hamill, Heath Ledger, and I threw in Cesar Romero just for fun. Cesar Romero, he's the one that did it from the 1960s show with Adam West. So Lottie, hot take time. Which one? Who's the best Joker?
In my opinion, this isn't a fair fight. It's Mark Hamill. This isn't a fair fight. But if we're going by live action,
I mean, really, and you know what? I forgot to put Jack Nicholson in there too. Jack Nicholson also from the 1989 Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And you would still be right because Mark Hamill is the definitive. He's kind of the definitive Joker.
Yes.
As he is the Joker that other Jokers are, modern Jokers are sort of channeling, I guess you could say.
Yes.
I'd say you even see a little bit of it in Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. Again, this isn't taking anything away from Heath Ledger. He obviously, live action wise, he's the best Joker that we've gotten. And Mark Hamill is, as we were saying, Heath Ledger's Joker has parts of Mark Hamill in it. And I will say this: Mark Hamill doesn't really have much of Cesar Romero in it. He would be the one that Mark Hamill grew up watching, on TV. So
Yeah.
I will, and let's not even talk about Jack Nicholson. I like Jack Nicholson's Joker, but I don't. He has a lasting impact on people of a certain age. But I mean, I always thought Heath Ledger blew him out the water, and Hamill's consistent treatment of Joker. I mean, it just wins. So there we go. Mark Hamill's the better Joker. And let's talk about DC one last time. Superman, the most, the OG, superhero. And there's been many over the years. We're going to talk about 3 of them. Sorry, George Reeve. No one really. I've never seen an episode of Superman. Well, I may have when I was a kid, but the Superman from like the 50s. So I don't remember that. So you're not in the conversation. We're going to talk about Christopher Reeves, Brandon Routh, or Henry Cavill. Lottie, out of those 3, who do you think is the better Superman?
Brandon Ralph is the one from the
Superman Returns. Yeah. I mean, I didn't include any of the Superman from TV either. If that's the case, we have to throw in what's his name from Smallville, Tom Welling.
There's hundreds of Supermans.
Yeah.
Let's just stick with these ones. Man,
I know you want to say Cavill.
It's Cavill. I loved Henry Cavill Superman. He wasn't given that great of script or much, but his portrayal when the suit was on, he played a great Superman. I didn't much care for Batman versus Superman, but his other times playing Superman, I really, really did enjoy.
Right.
I truly enjoyed. I just wish we could have saw Superman in all his glory, truly, but we never got to see him. But the stuff that I did see of Henry Cavill, I absolutely loved.
Right. Well, I don't know if I agree with you about this one, but the thing is I don't have a huge amount of experience with Christopher Reeve. You would think at my age I've seen all of the Superman. I actually didn't. And all the ones I did see, I saw on TV, and I saw them in snippets. But Christopher Reeves, there's something about, like, is he physically as imposing as Henry Cavill? Absolutely not. He was in shape, but he looked like a dude in spandex. I'll give you that. But I think character-wise, he is the comic book Superman. Like the one that I keep saying, like, I can't wait till they do that again. I really wanted Henry Cavill to get to be that guy instead of, in a gray world with, Zack Snyder's gray ass, Snyderverse. And, I could chalk this up to, I don't know if you've seen the original Superman from back in the day or any of the 3 sequels. But having seen that, I'm just like, that's a little more like the Superman that I'm expecting from the comics. So I don't know. I think let's call this a wash. Well, you think Cavill, I think Christopher Reeves, and I suspect this is down to lack of experience with Christopher Reeves. But we'll see. Maybe we'll come back to this and we'll define it otherwise. So let's just you know what? I'll just say Henry Cavill just for the sake of being of having a definitive answer. But I think Christopher Reeves is right there. So last 2, it's still DC. Batman. Who is the definitive Batman? Lottie, this is a tough one. It's Kevin Conroy, Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, or Ben Affleck.
It's Kevin Conroy. It's not. This is not hard at all. May his soul rest in peace, and this has nothing to do with him passing away. It's Kevin Conroy. I like Michael Keaton, Kevin Conroy, but
what about Christian Bale?
I'm sorry, Christian Bale, you at the bottom. He's at the bottom. There's a lot of people that love Christian. I did not like Christian Bale's portrayal of Batman at all. Like there was not a single bit about his Batman I liked. I'm sorry. You guys can fight me in the comment section. Go ahead. That's my personal opinion. Did not like his Batman at all.
Let her go. Poor choice of words.
Where are the drugs going?
What about how do you know that name? Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck is the next on the totem pole. He's bottom. He's the next person. He's the next person. He comes in resounding third place. Well, fifth place. Fourth place. Uh, I I mean, Ben Affleck's Batman. I don't know why I don't know why people like his Batman so much. I think they just like it because they're Snyder stands and they just have to like everything that Snyder makes.
Right.
Like
I'll tell you this. I actually liked him a lot in Justice League. I think
his Justice League one was pretty good, but putting like some people are saying he's the best Batman ever, and I'm like,
I can't follow them down that.
Yeah. I'm like,
especially not if Conroy's in the conversation. I do think he's better than Michael Keaton, though. I think Bale and Affleck are better than Michael Keaton. If only for the fact that in the Batman suit, Keaton is so weird. As Bruce Wayne, I think Michael Keaton is a weird incel sort of. He's a weird incel, but not toxic sort of Bruce Wayne. I don't even call it incel. He's just a weird loner one. I did not put. By the way, I didn't put Pattinson on this because we've seen one movie with him. But if we did put Pattinson on there, I think I might take him over Affleck.
I loved his I love his Batman. His Batman is amazing.
And I definitely take him over Adam. Like none of these are better. Adam West is better than none of these guys. Just because.
Adam West is.
He's such. Well, the thing, and again, not taking anything away from it. He's just such a weird, like, goofy Batman. But if I had to put Pattinson on there, yeah, I bet Pattinson still doesn't win. This is pretty much between for me. It's between Conroy and I want to say Christian Bale. And I think Conroy wins hands down. This is, like, as you said, it's not really a contest. He is Batman. You know, he is the voice of Batman. He even got to be live action Batman once, you know, in the CW, Arrowverse. But every other Batman is trying to not sound like him. And except Keaton, because Keaton predates Conroy as Batman. But everyone else is trying not to be his Batman. And in so doing, and trying to subvert our expectations, they sort of let us down. Because Kevin Conroy's voice of Batman, he has the voice of the authoritative voice of justice that can talk to Superman and not sound like he's weak. You know what I'm saying? And Ben Affleck's Batman has to stand next to Superman, and just like, how do you not sound like kind of weak next to Superman? I'm just saying, how don't you? So it's Kevin Conroy. And this is the last one, and I think we're gonna fight the most on this one. Or maybe we won't. I don't know. We're gonna see. Spider-Man. It's Andrew, Toby, or Tom. The eternal question: who's the best Spider-Man? And I guess I could honestly, I could throw in I forget the guy's name that plays Miles Morales, but he's not really the Spider-Man we're talking about. So, Andrew, Toby, or Tom? LADI, who do you think?
I don't give a damn. I'm biased. Tobey Maguire. I don't care. I don't. I'm biased.
He's doing.
He's
doing the spider dance. He's doing this. Bully Maguire's doing the spider dance. Let's go.
I know. Whatever people want to say, he wasn't as funny. I do not care. When I think of Spider-Man, always hear the voice of Tobey Maguire. I don't know why. Maybe because I feel like what makes me like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man more than everybody else, and I feel like his best performance as Spider-Man was in the video game Spider-Man 2, because I played the hell out of that game. And I felt like Tobey Maguire truly like spread his wings as Spider-Man in that game. You know what I mean? When he was voice acting Spider-Man in that game. Really, really enjoyed it. I'm sorry. I know I'm biased, but it's Tobey Maguire.
Bully Maguire. Uh, you know, this is a hard call for me. Mainly because each one of them, they are so different, you know? And it shows when you see them in Spider-Man No Way Home. Like yes, they have some commonalities, but Tom his Tom Holland's is a lot. He's a kid, not just a kid. He's a kid, and all of that goes along with that. He's more the nerd than either Andrew or Toby ever were. And there's kind of like a little more. I don't want to call it a sweetness, but a little more of an innocence to him, as opposed to Andrew. He seems a little more street smart, a little more tough, a street tough. He's kind of, I don't want to call it alternative, but he's a little more emo, if you will, than either the other two. And Toby is very very much a I think he's very much more plays a little bit older and a little more sure of himself than the other two. And so it's hard for me to pick any one. I like all of them. I sincerely do like all of them for different reasons. But if you twist my arm, I'd probably say Tom Holland, just because I like his interactions with other people in the MCU, and I really want more of what he's got going on. So I understand why you say Tobey Maguire. I liked him a lot. I think Spider-Man 3 kind of soured me on his character. Okay, just a little bit, to kind of lower him in my eyes to Tom Holland. So we're once again not agreeing about this, but that's fine. It definitively is either Tom or Toby. And again, this ain't nothing against Andrew Garfield. I know a lot of people talk shit about the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I think they're good. In fact, I think they're actually more than good. I think they're pretty great. So there's nothing against Andrew Garfield. So anyway, that's our definitive list. You've heard them all. No disputes. Anyone else says otherwise, they're wrong. But what did you guys think about this list? And what did you think about what we had to say? Get down to the comments section. Leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up. supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And while you're down there, do us a favor. Hit like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps with the algorithm so that more people see this channel and see these videos. And if you'd like to listen to this in podcast form, I'll remind you again, go hit it up on Spotify. And I believe it's on other podcast platforms. Check that out. It's the Super Not Funny Show. Real easy to find. And of course, I can't do the show by myself. LADI helps me out tremendously. So LADI, where can they reach you on social media?
Oh yeah, you can always find me on my Instagram, which is Anukinihun. It's spelled ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. And of course, you can also find me on my YouTube channel, which is Kinihun25. I've been able with my friends start playing Drunk Halo again, so the Drunk Halo streams are back, so you guys can laugh as we play Halo drunk. And laugh at the antics and crazy stuff that we do. So please check out my videos on my YouTube channel. Leave a like, a comment, or subscribe.
Yeah, you guys go and check that out. And thanks for giving us all your support, and showing Lottie some love, of course. That drunk Halo sounds like Lottie's going to be getting killed a lot. All right, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, thanks for joining us on this special 100th episode of the Supercast. Come back next week. We're back to our regular time, our regular weekly updates for episode 101. Should be a good time. I know for sure we're going to be talking about Guardians box office. So come back and check that out. Till then, I've been Mo de Poupée, your resident fabricant and commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.